Camera's good, yeah, at the back, all good. England captain Ben Stokes. We'll start with David. Charles, go ahead, David.
Hi Ben, took 3 days, maybe in the last 4 tests. Just what's your reaction to this debate on the series as a whole?
Yeah, I think we'll talk about the series as a whole. We've seen how it's done. Obviously we came here with very high hopes. We were sort of very confident about what we could achieve out here, and obviously it started off very well. But obviously losing the series 4-1. Not just myself, but I think the team as well. We're man enough and big enough to say that we've been, completely outplayed in the last 4 games. The way I look at it is that the big games are moments. The team who seizes those opportunities and makes the sort of those moments theirs are the team that's going to come out on the series. Whenever we manage to wrestle back any type of momentum with the ball or with the bat, India were always able to then put it back onto us. So looking back at the series, I think that's where sort of the test matches after the first one were won and lost. So yeah, obviously very disappointing. I don't give too much away whilst the series is going on, but as I say, I'm always man enough to sit here and will always be to say that we got beaten by the better team.
It's obviously been a very long tour. I know you're not one for making excuses, but is there any signs of tiredness this week at the end of a long trip?
No, look, physically maybe, yeah, because you got to think about how much goes into playing a game. But mentally, no. That's should never take for granted. I don't think anyone does take for granted. What a position we find ourselves in wherever we are, whether we're on short tours or long tours like we are here. Physically tiring series, yes, but mentally, no. If anyone ever gets into that mental space of, oh, I'm too tired to give my all, then probably in the wrong place.
There's a saying, you learn more from your defeats than you do from your victories. Do you agree with that? And if so, what have you learned on this tour?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I think failures are just a great teacher to, sports teams, and it's one of those where you either let failure and disappointment eat you up and chew you down, and you never seem to find a way back up. But, you learn from failures and just make sure that you don't lose the enthusiasm of what we do is about. We've got a massive summer coming up with, 6 home tests, Pakistan and New Zealand series after that. So we've got a lot more cricket to play in the next calendar year. And already looking at sort of the positives that we've been able to take away from the series. And those to me are Zach and Ben Duck at the top of the order again, coming out and being, showing that consistency that they did at the top of the order for us over the summer. And the way in which they've done, I'm not sure exactly what their record is like, but I think it's up there with, the best England openers so far. Shoaib Bashir, Tom Hartley, I think have been outstanding. Tom having to take the responsibility of the lead spinner with Jack Leach's unfortunate injury, which made him had to go home. And, we've unearthed, Shoaib Bashir. The opportunities might not have came to him this tour if, Jack Leach hadn't been injured. But, for someone with such an experience to come in and make the impact that he has done, and, for me as a captain and everyone else in the team, you can just see what talent that he possesses. And it's great signs for not just this format of the game for England, but I think for all 3 formats as well. Ruti getting back into form that we know that he's about over the last 2 games, and just from a personal note, it was great to be back out bowling as well and being in the fight like that.
But we almost be delighted as well for James Anderson, who's got his 700 test wicket. Speaking of the summer, you must hope that he's going to just keep going on and on and on.
Yeah, Jimmy's. He just takes everything in his stride, doesn't he? I've been out on the field for a lot of his milestones over the years, and he doesn't play the game for milestones. He plays the games for his teammates, and he plays the game for England. It was a pretty subdued celebration for 700, even though he knew he needed one more for it. But just an unbelievable ambassador for the game, and in particular fast bowling. I think I've already said it, but if someone came up to me and said, who should I try and emulate if I want to be a good fast bowler, the first person I'd say is Jimmy Anderson.
Chris, and then Will, please.
Ben, you talked about your team maybe not grabbing the big moments in this series. That's where the difference between the 2 teams was. What can you do in the future to kind of make sure you grab more of those big moments? Is it just a matter of experience, or is it particularly personnel? What's the key to grabbing those moments?
Yeah, I think it's been two different styles of play out here from both teams. And one thing India have done, I think personally, is they stay true to the way in which they know that they're successful. You know, we've done that, and we've just not, you know, been able to execute how we would have liked to. And with the ball, you know, it's every time that we sort of, even yesterday, you know, we took 2 early wickets in that session with the 2 set blokes on 100. But then that partnership that they managed to build in the middle there again was, you know, just sort of carried on the momentum that they had. And we managed to swing it back, but again, we just couldn't manage to make another indent into the batting lineup. But no, I think it's just making sure that it's staying true to ourselves as players and as a team, and knowing that, you know, sometimes taking risks does come to your downfall, but when there is reason as to why you're taking these risks and it doesn't quite work out, then, you know, that's fine. You know, it is a tough game, cricket. It can eat you up, but you know, this tour in particular is always sort of one that can lead you astray or make you a better player. I've done a lot of India tours now. Obviously disappointed with my own performance for the team, but, you know, write this team off, write me off at your own peril.
And you've got 4 months now until the start of that West Indies series. I guess it's a kind of a natural break. Will you have time during those 4 months to reflect on what you and Brendan have done right and what you've done wrong in kind of the first phase of your partnership together?
I think we've done a lot of things right. We've continued the way in which we've gone about things with, you know, how much success that we have had. You know, for us, this series isn't going to and shouldn't affect anything that we've managed to achieve before this tour. You know, it's the first time, you know, in particular these last 4 games, where this team's been, you know, dominated pretty much the whole time throughout a series. But look, we will use this as inspiration to become a better team. We will use this as inspiration to become better players. And that's the mentality that we have. You know, this media name Bazball is everyone is saying, what is it? What is it? In my opinion, it's a mentality of always wanting to get better. So, you know, in the face of defeat and failure, Bazball will hopefully inspire people to become better players and inspire this team to become even better than what we are.
Will Matt Ferguson, please?
Hi Ben, obviously your team sort of prides yourself on your positivity and your response to situations. This is your first series loss and it's ended up being a heavy defeat. Is that just hurting? Is there room in that for a bit of negativity and reflection and sort of going forward a little bit and feeling that pain and using it to get better? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, look, obviously, you know, I'm very disappointed, not only, you know, in myself, but I'm just disappointed for the team because of how much hard work's gone into this tour in itself. And if we weren't disappointed, if we weren't, you know, frustrated at how the series has ended up, then I don't really know what other emotions you could have. But as I've just said there, you use it as fuel. You know, I've been through a lot of ups and downs. You know, that's what playing 100 test matches throws at you, ups and downs. And, you know, making sure that I use those down moments that I've had to make me work even harder than what I thought I was. You know, I always feel like I can't work any harder, but, you know, I'll come away from this tour and I'll go back home and work even harder than what I have done out here for the summer coming up.
Do you see this as kind of a natural break point in the cycle of yours and Baz's leadership? It's 2 years in, this is obviously a massive tour, and you've got a bit of a break now. Would you expect there to be a bit of tweaking to this team moving forward? Do you think this set of players will be the ones that you completely stick with, or do you reckon there'll be a bit of change coming?
I've not given too much thought, but I think, just to answer your question as truthfully as I can, you know, sitting here half an hour after we've lost a test match in a series, I don't think I could really say yes or no to that.
Gentlemen to your left, yes. And you take...
Ben, you mentioned a couple of times, you know, how proud you were of like Shoaib Bashir for not being at his best physically through this test match, but bowling so many overs. Bowled a really long spell in Ranchi as well. But the flip side of that is, did you think at any point during this series, and perhaps now in retrospect, that you could have played 5 bowlers at any point?
Hindsight never loses.
Yeah, but was there a thought given to, okay, maybe we need that extra bowler?
No, that's those types of questions always will be asked after the fact. So I don't deal in hindsight, sorry.
Gentlemen, yeah, there, and then we'll take 2 at the front to finish off.
Ben, obviously the win in Pakistan was like a vindication for the way you guys played that series under you and Baz. But when a series like this happens, do you look at it and say, now, do you say maybe we need to temper something, or do you say, no, this is just a trade-off and this will work for us long term? How do you look at that?
No, I wouldn't say it's a trade-off. I think as well, we shouldn't lose I'm full of admiration for India and the beasts in which they are in their home conditions. We shouldn't take away that fact of how good a team they are here. Obviously a lot was said about certain players not being here, but this series as a whole, I think has shown the depth of Indian cricket. Seen a lot of young players come in and do extremely well. But saying it's a trade-off, doing well in Pakistan but not doing well in India, in my opinion, is just sort of a bit of a cop-out comment if I was to ever say that. And going back to the start, since the first game, India have been the much better team, and obviously 4-1 reflects that.
And 2 more at the front here, please. Can you pass the mic down, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Ben, it has been a very long and hard tour for you guys. But from your experience after this tour, if you have to, if you have to beat India in India, what would it take for a foreign team, especially for a non-subcontinental team, to beat India in India? Like your experience, if you can share, like what they need to do in the past. But maybe you talk about the grabbing those key moments and everything. So if you talk about from your experience, if a foreign team need to beat India in India in a test series, what they need to do?
Sorry, just trying to get. So what you said is from my experiences, what is it that we need to do to come here and beat India? I think India is it's an amazing place to come and play cricket because of how fast games can turn in click of the fingers, and that genuinely comes in games when the Indian spinners are operating. One thing that India obviously will always have the upper hand on touring teams is the experience of bowling in India. And the only way that I guess, touring teams and spinners can get better at that is by playing here more. How you do that, I've got no idea, because you only tend to come here and play red ball cricket when there's a test series. But what I have found, and I think what we have found, is that we have got now some very exciting spinners at the very start of their career who have got some unbelievable potential that I feel we have a responsibility to bring out in them. Obviously Bash has been spoken a lot about, and rightly so, but we shouldn't forget Tom Hartley, even Rayan Ahmed, the impact that he had in the games, coming in and playing the role that we told him to, because we feel that's his best way of winning games for us. But yeah, India's spin, the people that they have to throw the ball to, you've got to give so much credit to. They are seriously good team, and I'm always prepared to give credit to the opposition where it's due.
Last one, please.
Ben, your thoughts on the short selection of some of your batters today, and on the ball that you bowled to Rohit Sharma yesterday, these 2 questions.
Which ones do you want to talk about, the shots?
Ben Duckett and Oli Pope, for example.
Yeah, Ben Duckett, ran down the wicket and tried to put pressure back onto Ashwin. Doesn't always work out the way he wanted to. Ollie Pope wanted to get the close infielders out of there, and he felt that playing the sweep shot was the way to do it. There was no one back there, unfortunately got a top edge on it. But as I said, sometimes taking risk can be your downfall, but there's obviously reason as to why our batters went out there and tried to do in which they did, but it doesn't always pay off in that way. I said to Ducky after, I said, like, think about how annoyed that you would be sat here if you were to get out to Ashwin again, you know, just plodding forward. It's just one of those things, you look at dismissals all the time and say, oh, was that the right option, was it not? But again, that always gets judged on by the outcome of someone's decision. Ball to Rohit, yeah. It was bizarre. Obviously, I reacted in quite a weird way because I didn't really know what to do. It's been 9 months since I've bowled a ball competitively. I've been bowling in the nets and, you know, at stump for pretty much the whole tour. So then started running in and I was just bizarre. And then it was just like, I can't believe I've just done that. So I didn't really know what to do. But, you know, I just had to get myself into some kind of zone because I've not been there for so long. And, you know, I was just so focused on making sure that I ran in and just tried to get the ball down there as hard and as fast as I possibly could whilst I was still bowling. So I think that's probably why you didn't see too much emotion. But for me personally and individually, I just absolutely loved being back out in the game with the ball in my hand. I know how much that, you know, helps the team in terms of the dynamic of what it looks like when I am bowling. And again, as I said before, you know, I'm going to going back and working even harder than I have done out here to make sure that come the summer, I'll be playing that full role as an all-rounder that I have done for a long period of time now.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.